All right, Daniel, it's on you. Go live.
Your co-host is taking a nap.
You are live.
Welcome back to the 406 Budcast, guys. Today we have some very special guests, Rod, Doc Walbeck here, and Joe Misfit Glenn. We will get into a little bit more about what they are about after this short intro.
Antenna vibes under the big sky. 406 Budcast gonna get you high. Adam, Hannah, Tanaki, and Nate bringing the heat. No time to wait. From the mountains to the plains, fucking up, break your chains. Every topic, every strain in this cannabis domain.
Hello?
406 Budcast.
Did that turn you down?
Rolling up, it's time to celebrate. Adam, Hannah, Tanaki, and Nate and Montana, we dominate. From the soul of the villas, we're on the map. Lighting up the scene, ain't no cap. Hip-hop beats in the background as we drop knowledge profound. From CBD to THC, we're breaking down the chemistry in this podcast symphony. Come join our THC family.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the 406 Budcast. As Daniel was saying before we went into that introduction, we've got some very special guests here. We've got Joe Doc Walbeck and, Doc Rod Doc Walbeck and Joe Misfit Glenn. We appreciate you two joining us in the studio here. You guys have your very own special podcast that's dedicated to what you call the sick call and dealing with all things cannabis and military. So can you give us a quick introduction about what your podcast is about and introduce yourselves, please?
Yeah, I'm Rod Doc Walbeck. I'm a United States Navy Hospital Corpsman veteran. And we started this podcast to try to help eradicate veteran suicide. We're losing too many of our veterans, and we wanted to show how cannabis and veterans using that as a medicinal remedy for their ailments and change, actually creating miracles in their lives. And
yeah,
that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely, that sounds amazing. How long have you guys been doing your show for at this point?
We are. We have a whole season done of 10 episodes.
Right on.
And this year, this new episode, we're going to do 12. And we throw some lives in the middle, where we talk to veterans, or we'll recap the season, or we'll go through 3 or 4 episodes and then connect on a live and talk about those episodes.
Okay.
Right on.
Some of these stories that the veterans are telling me and Joe, it's become way bigger than what we first dreamed about. So it's like it's been very learning, very cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, we really appreciate you guys bringing awareness to veteran suicide. Obviously, suicide's a big thing everywhere, but a lot of times the veterans get left out and left behind on a lot of things. Daniel being military service, myself being military service, we thank you guys for your service. So look forward to hearing a lot more about, exactly what your podcast has been able to accomplish and your take on cannabis and how that really mixes in with that.
Well, Joe and I come from a medical background. Go ahead, Joe. Talk about the medical side of why we do it.
Real quick, I don't want to interrupt you guys, but I do want to do our disclaimers real quick. Our show is just for entertainment purposes only and education as well. So with that in mind, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And please.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, guys, thank you for your service first and foremost. Okay.
Yeah.
But, for our disclaimer, we're just some veterans with a little bit of medical background, obviously through the medical field stuff. But we also are knowledgeable in cannabis. And we like to share the therapy side of it. All right. Because it's not just about, getting high or something. Yeah. It's about the therapy portion of it, too. And that's not just cannabis. We're talking about gardening and all this stuff in the woods. We talk about things you can do to overcome these battles that most of us veterans face. We like to let them tell their story. That makes you feel good and makes you feel, needed to be able to speak your story and get your side out, you know. And we just allow the platform to let them take it and go with it, you know. Sometimes we get a little bit of medical stuff in there too.
Well,
you know?
We can also disclaim right up front, we're not here to treat or diagnose any medical problems.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know,
But anecdotally, these things have helped all of us, I'm sure.
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is we bring them on. We've seen like a cycle almost, where we'll get the courage to come on and tell their story, and they may start when they're a kid, and traumas that may happen when they're young. Then they join the military. We talk about that, and then when they got out in the transition period, and then what the VA does or doesn't do for them, and then how horrible their lives were. Like they were, there's no light left in their eyes, you know, sitting on all these meds and stuff from the VA. And most of our guests never touched cannabis till way years after they got out. You know, if it was a drug, you know. So, and being good soldiers, they just keep taking the pills from the VA, and before you know it, they've lost 15 years of their life to opioid abuse.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so what we're just trying to do is like say, look, if cannabis has created something in your life that you think is relatable to other veterans, come on and tell your story as much as you want. Open forum. Say as much as you want or as least as you want about your difficulties in time and service, right? But just if you think you're relatable, and then you can go like this, well, I've got this and this and this, and I use this, this, and this for those things. It might signify to another vet, well, if I try those, it might help me.
Right.
And when they're in a time of dark despair,
that
we
further
have to
education
reach-
to somebody
we
to
have to
cling
reach-
on to.
Yep. Exactly.
and
And
I've
you know,
seen
most of the
miracles.
time, I speak from my experience mostly like this. You know, Rod, you said damn near everything that I went through. You know, I was on, you know, these narcotics, opiates and narcotics for over 15 years. My wife and my children, I mean, I didn't talk to them much. You know, I did things, but I wasn't exactly the best of husbands or fathers, you know.
Right.
And so by me getting on here and talking and these other veterans getting in here and talking, sharing their stories, it lets you know as a veteran, as a human being, and just in general, that you are not alone, that other people experience the same kind of things, maybe in their own way, but it's all relatable. And just to understand that you, as a veteran or whatever, somebody that feels alone is not alone, right there, it just pulls the hood off of them. They can see the hands that are reached out to help, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of us are just in a hole. And, well, there's a lot of like me and Rod, and I'm sure you guys, man, we got our hands out. We're ready to pick you guys up, and we just want everybody to know it, you know?
Absolutely. That's a powerful message and something we really appreciate you guys bringing forward and bringing to our audience as well. So thank you guys.
We appreciate you guys, man.
Absolutely. Brian, our executive producer, said it best. If we commit suicide here as veterans in America, then that's just another number they got.
Right.
True that.
You know, and that's a statistic not really counted. You know, we talk about all of the battlefield statistics and losses and casualties that happen there, but we really don't talk about, you know, the heavy statistic that comes at home. You know, that's not part of that equation that we tend to look at as society after the war or anything else is over. And I'm really glad that there's people out there trying to bring that attention and starting to really get those stories out there. I mean, Tanaki next to me here, her dad was military, so she grew up military. I mean, we're a very big military organization ourselves, and really appreciate that. And I think we've all had a little bit of the effect in seeing that. We've also had our peers and friends who have come off of opioids and narcotics, the same that you guys have talked about, and not just, you know, veterans, but having a dispensary and stuff here in Montana. We're seeing a lot of people switch from the opioids, going to the gummies, going to, you know, more natural remedies.
They just want to sleep at night.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
There's some CBDs out there that will just take care of you big time.
Yeah, they'll
Yep.
put you to sleep.
You know, pain,
Absolutely.
anxiety, panic attacks, depression. Joe and I have literally seen miracles.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I can say
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I can say as a bud tender that we have lots of veterans that come through our shop in search of things for pain relief, just something that they can take instead of the narcotics and things like that. And we just see tons of veterans come through our place as well.
That's all.
Yeah, well, all of you have a very special place in our heart for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how it all kind of came about was like, you know, I got out in '93.
Wow.
So yeah, I did 10 years. I got out in '93. You know what I mean? Like, so I've been out a while.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And I knew we had veterans coming home from Afghanistan and Iraq that were going to need somebody. But, you know, you're busy feeding 4 kids and you're doing your life, but you want to help your vets, but you don't know a way to do it,
Right.
you know? And so you join a VFW and you find all the Vietnam vets in there or their family auxiliary members, not really foreign war
Right.
people.
Right.
And there's no Iraq and Afghanistan veterans in there. You want to know why? Because they're more worried about childcare, feeding their family, going
Definitely.
to school. It's a different kind of veteran nowadays.
Much
You
younger.
know, much younger, and they don't want to be sitting there crying in their beers all day long. You know,
That's true.
it's really true. The younger generation vets are a different veteran than I am, and my guys my age.
Yeah.
And I just always wanted to do my part to help, and I could never figure it out. And
How could our viewers help if they wanted to? Is there some sort of email or outreach or program or just engaging with you guys, right?
Oh, sure. They can come to all of our stuff on Facebook, YouTube, and all the stuff that we do. We're really new, so we haven't really organized that piece of it yet.
Sure.
Of where, other than the crisis hotline, because you know we're kind of there saying this, and we've had the one gentleman who really helped us all get together his name is TJ Durkin from the Veterans Canada community.
Okay.
It's a Facebook group that's all veterans only. Got to show proof to get in. And through that group, we all have come together, Brian and Joe and I, and tons of relationships, all positive stuff, giving out free seeds and tents and lights and whatever we can get for free for veterans to help them start growing their own medicine.
Nice.
That's how this all kind of derived, was from that. And then, you know, I just wanted to try to be a corpsman again, kind of. Let me help my fellow human beings with my medicinal thinking. Now, not the pills in sick bay on
Yeah.
the ship,
Right.
but now through cannabis. And then Joe was infantry, Army, and then he got out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, 9/11 happened and you rejoined, but this time as an Army medic. So he went to combat 3 times.
Yeah.
So with a corpsman and a medic, and we talked to our veterans, come with us. We'll show you some help here so that you don't become a statistic.
Right.
I just looked at it today, 17 a day, man. The VA has 17 a day. Their own numbers.
17 too many.
Yeah.
Yes.
17 too many. indeed.
It has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
It has to stop.
Absolutely. Well,
So
you know, we actually did load up a couple of your guys' videos, the introduction for your guys' stream, which we would love to play. And then we also actually loaded up that commercial that you guys ran, so we can show that to our viewers as well.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and run those.
And I have to do the commercial, but I have to mute you guys, correct?
Yep,
All
I
right,
believe so.
Give me just a minute here. To stay.
Well, never know the heartache of looking a grown man in the eye, and he asked, am I gonna make it? And you've got to lie. Well, they call me Doc, but I ain't got no degree. When shit hits the fan, they're calling for me. From bluegrass Kentucky, with red blood on my hands, nobody calls me hero except for my friends. Yeah, they call me Doc.
Hey y'all, Hot Rod Wally here. Finally, a revolutionary nutrient line that puts the needs of you and your plants first. Easy to use, forgiving, tweakable, versatile, and clean. Utopic Essential Nutrients blends only the most refined raw materials, the perfect blend of plant hormones derived from kelp, along with silica and humates, makes Utopic a powerhouse plant food. From commercial industrial growers down to our beloved hobbyists. Come discover our truth at www.utopicessentialnutrients.com. Come get them.
Too many buttons.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So, thank you so much for sticking around through those awesome commercials. Those are amazing.
Made my heart cry.
Yeah, Michelle really liked that first one. I want to get to the commercial because I have some questions, but we want to talk to people in the chat too. So we've got a ton of people here tonight that a lot of names I actually haven't seen, but I'll just go through here. Rachel, it's nice to see you. David. Sorry, I have terrible vision apparently. Lori Glenn, nice to see you. And then Michelle, if you don't mind scrolling up. Who else we got in here tonight? Mr. Burns. Joe, what's up? Adam, hey, welcome. Nice to see you. Kayla, welcome back as usual. We appreciate you always coming back. Nice. That's good to see everyone in the chat. Thank you all so much. Okay. Yes. Utopic. I think that's what Rachel is talking about in the chat. So I kind of I grow some weed every once in a while. I know a little bit about it. Tell me about your guys' newts. Let's hear about it.
Well, Utopic Essential Nutrients is a salt synthetic in the industry because rocks aren't organic, right?
Okay. I've actually run into another nutrient line that has a similar OMRI listing issue where they can't list because one stupid ingredient. Yeah, I get you. I love talking about my nutrients. Mixing it with Sicko and Doc, it gives me like this feeling sometimes. But at the same time, if my nutrients can help a veteran or anybody grow better medicine, right,
then I should promote that, right? And
well, you know what, Doc, what I can say just as a consumer, because I actually did a side-by-side test with Utopic nutrients and no nutrients, the way I grow. And I actually spent the money and had it tested for full compliance, and it passed with flying colors. So if anybody was worried about something being in your cannabis after harvest, it is completely clean. And I will put my name on that one.
So flush is pretty easy.
Yeah, it was created for a medicinal grow in Marion, Ohio. And it was created by a farmer who's almost 70 now. And he never meant it to go to the public. It was just for him and his big greenhouses he's got there in Ohio. And I got my hands on it, and then I started getting more from him for my grow at home. I was growing for my wife for her disabilities, and then my buddies saw it. I was getting it from them and getting it for these guys, and so finally I'm just like, let me take this to the public.
Yeah.
And he let me. So it's just good, clean weed. good, clean medicine for you. There's nothing in it that can hurt you. It's got plant hormones derived from organic kelp. We got silicates, humates, and the most refined raw materials. There's no impurities when we clean our rocks, I guess the best way to call it. It's just a super great plant food.
Nice.
Tomatoes, your garden. And so if that helps people grow better medicine, I'm all in.
Absolutely.
And it does.
Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe not everyone knows in our chat, but you know what else you can use cannabis nutrient lines for is also peppers and tomatoes. They both work very well.
Cucumbers, onions.
Ooh, I didn't know these ones.
I've done it right out back of my house here.
Okay, right on.
Oh, yeah. Cucumber, it makes massive peppers and cucumbers.
Oh, yeah, I bet you could grow some monster peppers. I've got a dream to do some peppers myself, so that's fantastic.
It's easily tweakable for whatever string you're doing. You could do it in any medium, any methodology of growing. It works with the waters and the cocos and the soils and the organics. You can mix mine with the organics and it works hand in hand together.
Nice.
Just telling you. So
That's awesome. That's super sick.
Well, one of the things that we've talked about just as a crew, because all of us do a little bit of the growing at our cultivation facility, even the bud tenders and stuff, they get in there, get it done. But there's also some home growing and everything that people do in Montana, as well as, the crew that does that. It seems like that taking care of that plant and stuff like that, that's a really good therapeutic outlet, just to focus on. Plus, sometimes it can be dreary and dull in the wintertime, and just to be able to go to summer in a box and just enjoy that nice, beautiful green, plant and the beautiful light. I think that's a very therapeutic thing that a lot of people don't even pay attention to.
Yeah. The farmer who created this believes in a holistic approach to growing, where if you're going to give your girls everything that they want, and everything they need when they need it and want it, they're going to have the best health from start to finish. And the best health is what creates great quality bud in the end.
Agreed.
Do we lose them?
I don't know.
Hello?
We'll just hang out for a sec. They've been getting a storm tonight, apparently, y'all.
Yeah, man.
Well, it lasted for quite a while, though. 23 minutes.
Yeah, the clock's still moving, though.
Oh, there we go.
They're back.
Hey, mic's off, though.
Can you guys hear us now?
There we go. Gotcha.
Sorry about that.
Do you guys also have visuals on us? We
Yes.
can't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're
Awesome.
back. All right, sorry about that, folks. We're having some internet issues out here. We're having a storm roll through.
So, real quick, Rod and Joe, can you let our audience know where you guys are coming from? Because obviously we're a Montana podcast, but we like to reach out to everybody out there who has anything to do with cannabis and try to give them exposure to our audience and to a broader audience. So give us a little introduction to where you guys are from and your local communities and stuff.
Go ahead, Rod.
Oh, I'm from about an hour north of Detroit, Michigan. And the nutrients are made in Marion, Ohio. So I travel between here and Marion, where we have our machine and blender. So that's my territory is there.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
And I'm in Oklahoma, close to Tulsa. And so we have completely different environments, me and Rod. So but we share information between grows and stuff like that, along with all these other growers that I mess with. It's pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Hell yeah.
My
Very nice.
outdoor is different than his outdoor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Right now, our outdoor is trying to thaw out, but now it's dumping on us again. So,
Oh, Lord.
It
Yep.
keeps switching between 50 degrees and negative 10 degrees, you know, the classic Montana.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was
My
stationed
whole-
up before Drum, and it's just too cold for me.
yeah, I can imagine. You know, being in Oklahoma, I was actually stationed a lot in Fort Seal, so I understand that. And one of the funny things I tell people coming from Montana, there was a sleet storm that had hit, and I had lived off post at that time, so I just put the truck in 4-wheel drive. I drive in. Charge of Quarters looks at me and he's like, "What are you thinking about doing here?" And I was like, "Well, I'm coming in for formation." He was like, "It's emergency travel only. Get back home."
All right. Yeah.
So yeah.
They get real serious about, you know, if I mean, because we just have like a layer of ice and they will shut everything down, the whole state.
Yep.
But it is slippery. I will give you that. You know,
What
Not that
branches of service were you guys in? And how about your family? How many members that were in? What branches? What they do?
Sure. Go ahead.
My dad was Special Forces for about 4 years. Don't really know what he did. And then he was Army, I think, for a totaling of 11 or 12 years.
nice.
We
Right on.
bounced around all over the place. We were in, when I was, so I married, he adopted us, me and my brother from my mom's first marriage. We lived in Hawaii for a while.
Ooh, that's always
We
a
lived in
fun
South-
station,
Yeah, I was little, so I don't remember any of it. I was like 4.
unfortunately.
We were in South
That's a
Carolina
bummer.
for about a
Yeah.
year. And then we were in Georgia for about 5-6 years.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
5 years active duty Army myself. And go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, so I was in the Air Force. I did like 4 years active, did a couple of years of guard duty, and that was it. I just did one term for myself, and then I'm from Montana. I've been in Montana while I was in the military. I was stationed in Montana, and I'll probably die in Montana someday. You know. So that's me. That's how it is. We also have our crew in the back. I think that when the internet was cutting in and out, we didn't get that computer set up. So unfortunately, we normally have a camera back there.
Booting. I don't know what its problem is.
Okay, yeah, we
I'm here,
completely
and I'm
lost it.
listening.
So we got Michelle in the back, and Michelle, I think that mic works, so you can pitch in for just a moment if you'd like.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and thank you guys all for your service. I mean, we are veteran families and we're very proud of our veterans and we're very proud of the people who currently serve. I've got a nephew who's in the Navy and trying to convince our young son back here to join. And we're very proud of the hearts that would go with it because it's not just strength and brute force, but it is a lot of love and a lot of compassion. And you guys go through so much, and we want to say thank you.
Well, you're very welcome.
Thank you
And
for
then
the support.
one of the things that we found at the podcast is the depth of some people's sacrifices that they had to make. Like Joe did a ton, you know.
Yeah.
Mine a lot less over there.
Sure. Yeah.
More here. But when you hear the sacrifices that our own fellow veterans made that you didn't, you know, or it's just it gives me nothing but pride to be one of them, you know.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
For real.
Well, I think now we've got that ice kind of broken. What if we jump into those stoner questions and test your metal here?
Shit.
How do you guys feel about that? You down for some trivia?
Bring that shit on.
Trivia? Yeah, I'm
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Well, I'm
We'll
not
hit
doing
right after
trivia,
this
but
intro.
Smoking like a Rasta, feeling so high. We talk about cannabis and getting fly. Are you smarter than a stoner? Let's find out. Listen up,
B, the
my
plant's
friends.
flavor
I
and
got
aroma
something to
compounds.
shout. Cannabis
C, the plant's
knowledge,
fibers.
let it flow through your mind. Getting blazed, smoking loud. We all unwind. Trivia questions, can you keep up the pace? Let's see
Alrighty, welcome back, folks. We're gonna do some stoner trivia. I tell you what, I'm a little intimidated this week.
What?
It's got
What?
some.
My answer is C.
Hey,
It's usually B with Tanaki. I'll give you guys a little pro tip.
get out of here.
50-50 chance.
My answer is C. Every answer.
So normally, just so you guys get an impression of what we do, Tanaki asks the question. We usually give, if anyone is in the live chat tonight, which we do have several people, an opportunity to answer. We hold up a little sticky note with our guests in studio. If you have some, great. If not, whatever. And then we will probably ask you guys what your answers are first and move on from there. So that's how we roll.
Give it a rip.
Hell yeah. All right. Okay. Number 1. Which part of the cannabis flower produces resin and is critical for cannabinoid synthesis? A, the pistils. B, the sepals. C, the bracts. Or D, the trichomes.
What do you guys think in the chat? I know we've got a couple of people out there this evening.
I know I got it wrong. I'm pretty for sure.
Well, what are y'all thinking?
What are y'all thinking?
I've got D for trichomes.
All right.
Same.
Okay.
So we got D for trichomes. We got D in the chat as well out there.
Yep.
Got Kayla coming in.
Yep. Thank you, Kayla. And I also had D. Tanaki easing us in. Okay. Okay.
Nice little easy one to start off. I see David in the chat popping up with a D as well.
All right, cool. We're on
You know
point.
you're in trouble when Tanaki, the question rolls up and it's like a paragraph. You're like, oh.
D is going to
David
answer.
Zuckerman is with Zero a Day. He's a good organization too. Just thought I'd
Yeah,
share that.
promote him for sure.
Yeah, right here.
Zero a day.
0 a day. So, Dave, go ahead and throw us a link in the chat if you would, so everybody
Please.
connect up with you out there. And we'd love to
Absolutely.
have you on our show as well.
I was just thinking the same thing.
All right. Ready for number 2?
Question number 2.
Number 2. What is the purpose of a cannabis plant's pistils?
Ooh, I know that.
To ward off robbers.
A, to produce THC and other cannabinoids. B, to collect pollen for reproduction. C, to regulate moisture levels in the plant. Or D, to store nutrients for later growth phases.
I got an answer. I don't think I'm right, but
I don't know.
when Joe said he knows what it is, I'm going to follow him, knowing what he does.
Sometimes I'm confident that I have the answer, and then Tanaki says something completely different. So tonight, we'll see what does chat have to say? It looks like Lori says C, Kayla says A. Ooh, Joe says B. I love to see a split decision
Right.
like that. That is absolutely beautiful. I
I'll
went
break
with
the
B
tie.
tonight.
Now you know it's a great question.
Bravo.
I'm sorry. I went with
B.
B.
Bravo.
B. Bravo.
Yep, I went with B as well.
Heck
And
yeah.
I went with C.
Now, Lori Glenn, and that's my wife. She's in training right now, so she's gonna get in trouble.
Well, we appreciate you getting in trouble for us, Lori.
Yep. Thank you.
That's my ride or die, man.
One
32
for the
There
team.
you go.
One for the team.
The correct answer for number 2 is B.
Okay, fair enough. I think I guess that because I believe if you, intentional or not, if your female cannabis plant gets pollinated, those pistils will curl up and
Become your seeds.
prematurely. So
They
it's
turn
kind
red.
of an early sign.
Shrivel up.
That question kind of goes back to your basic earth science.
I guess that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah. I guess it's not just cannabis plants. That's just how plants work.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's much like a corn cob, right? You know, the silk. Each one of those
Oh, okay.
goes to a kernel. Well, each pistil that gets pollinated goes to a seed. So if that whole thing gets a bunch of pollen on it, you'll just have that whole bud full of seeds.
Wow.
Definitely
Okay.
nice.
I never drew the connection to the corn.
Great,
Mhm.
straight description for sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you.
Joe does awesome on our podcast, helping veterans grow with solid, good knowledge. He loves to
Thank you, brother.
teach. Joe Misfit Glenn, for real.
I appreciate
Right
that.
on, man.
He's awesome at it.
I just know little tidbits that make everybody think I know some shit.
That's just enough. Just enough.
Best way to be.
A minute
Oh,
we
and
missed it.
Joe, the answer to number 2 was B.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Ready for number 3?
For 300. Let's
Ooh, I know.
Where are the stomata located, and what is their primary function?
I talk about these, Rod. You should get this, brother.
Because you just taught me this.
Hell yeah. A,
Uh,
on the upper
yeah.
surface of the leaves, they absorb light for photosynthesis. B, on the stem nodes, they transport nutrients. C, primarily on the underside of leaves, they regulate gas exchange. Or D, inside the
Calyx.
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 Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
They enhance terpene production. You know, I should know how to say all of these, and I do practice beforehand. But then when I actually go to say them, my brain's just like, oh, I don't know.
All kinds of weed words.
Where are the stomata located? The wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Oh, man.
It looks like we got a C from Kayla. Quick answer on that one.
Yeah,
She
boom.
knew. That gives me some confidence.
Hey, from Laurie.
A from Lori as well. Any other guesses from the chat coming in last minute? I went ahead and guessed C myself. I am pretty confident on this, but it's a little bit of a guess.
I'm
It's
going
for
with C.
sure.
Absolutely.
C's
Yeah,
the
definitely
deal.
see on my side.
And Lori got in trouble again.
Joe Kindernet in the chat guessing C as well. All right.
Nice.
Michelle, Keaton, y'all got guesses too?
I'm going with C.
All
Keaton's over here petting a dog.
C is going to be the correct answer for number 3.
Hell yeah.
Lori's like, I'm done. LOL.
Never give up, Lori. Never
Don't give up.
surrender.
There's one more
Hey.
question. Okay.
Hey, honey, now for you guys, this is the way I explain it. The stomatas are like little mouths, okay, on the
Yep.
bottom of the leaf, and that's where the plant breathes, right? And so that's why you have to have airflow to get rid of all that, that oxygen, if you will.
Yeah.
Fun fact for you.
And that's why the
Thank you.
spider mites underneath the leaves are such a bad deal.
Oh,
I love it.
I didn't even put that part together,
Can't
but
let them breathe.
There's no such thing as spider mites.
Plant lice.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Number 4. Which structure in the root system is responsible for absorbing the majority of water and nutrients? A, the taproot. B, lateral roots. C, root hairs. Or D, the root cap.
I don't know a lot about roots, to be completely honest. It's a huge gap in my plant knowledge.
Come on,
Yeah, I
honey.
tried to focus my
Spit it out.
questions. Tried to focus my questions this week on more of the biology and not biology, anatomy of the plant.
Anatomy. I encourage everybody to learn a little bit of anatomy. It helps.
Well, then you understand how nutrients get in there, and you learn so much from just learning the anatomy of what each thing does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like Joe was saying earlier, you learn about that idea that this is where the plant breathes. Get rid of that stale air. Get them, some good air in there.
That's right.
Good CO2 for them, but they're going to produce oxygen for us.
Y'all remember having those masks on for those couple years, whatever, and how bad it sucked?
Yeah,
Did you hear Joe's?
that's a fact. And having to walk through, one door because it only went one way.
Right. Right.
Knowing they don't stop the COVID virus. I get it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Anyway.
We're seeing C from Kayla in chat.
We're getting a lot of
B from
question marks
Lori
on
and
this one,
Joe.
though. You're stretching their knowledge too. They're
Mhm.
not sure. I took a wild guess on this. I had
Is
no
yours
idea.
B?
Yeah, that's my guess.
I'm going with B. B.
B.
I'm going B.
Lateral, Joe? You think the lateral, huh?
I am.
What are you guessing?
I had C.
God.
You got the hairs, the root hairs.
The
Hmm.
little
Steve's
micro
guessing
hairs.
A.
I could understand why
You
you'd
are
think the
not.
micro hairs. Like I said, I guessed. So
the correct answer for number 4. Give me a drum roll, please.
See, baby.
Is C.
It is C. Dang, Tanaka, she wrecked us. Oh, man.
Good job.
And that was all for this week.
All
And
right.
what-
You know, Rod almost had it a perfect 10 there. You know, C
Yeah.
C C C.
I know.
Yeah. She was trying to break that B habit.
No, for real. You know, I look at the root system like your lungs and your respiratory system. You know, Joe, you know this, being a
Yep.
doc. If you take the lungs and you just take out all the inside stuff and flip it over, it looks like a plant,
Yeah,
It does.
right?
yeah, most definitely.
And all the way down to the very little tiny cilia, your nose collects, right? And inside your lungs, you have a alveoli, and they collect the oxygen. And so it's the cannabis plant and you are very similar in that way in the respiratory system. Very much.
Well, and it's like we've gone over a couple of times on our show. The endocannabinoidal system is actually the largest central nervous system in your body. It's one of the main connectors to almost every nerve point in your body, and gives you a better delivery system for all kinds of different medications and stuff when you utilize like opioids or any other things that you need to along with cannabis. There's an effect that helps it distribute throughout your body more effectively. But they're also seeing a lot of studies that show a lot of people are able to come off of those out of anesthesia and stuff like that a lot better if they had prior cannabis use or do have cannabis use. It seems like there's a lot of benefits happening there as well.
The other thing that is interesting about anesthesia, both tobacco and cannabis smokers actually have less nausea after anesthesia than non-smokers.
Interesting.
So one of the things that we went over our military history and stuff like that. Michelle, my wife behind the desk there, and one of our producers, she actually is a registered nurse, spent a lot of years up at the hospital, both cardiac and on the was peri anesthesia ward.
Yeah, pre and post op.
Nice.
There you go.
I love nurses in the Navy. We used to teach them all kinds of stuff.
Don't put your finger in that.
Nothing but clean stuff, right? Nothing but clean stuff.
We taught the nurses how to be nurses. I'm kidding.
I totally understand it because it's a different world. You guys get to do so much more in
Oh,
the
yes,
medical
ma'am.
field than
Yes, ma'am.
nurses or even doctors in the field. Everything is so textbook and strict and controlled environments where you guys have to be on your feet thinking 10 steps ahead before it even happens most of the time.
Yeah.
So we appreciate what you do. It's amazing
Yeah,
work.
man.
So, go over that real quick. I know we hit that in your video, but obviously you go by the moniker doc. That's something that is common in the military for medics or for corpsmen to be called, for people to refer to them as doctor.
Yeah, it's really not doctor at all, brother. It's just doc. You know, it's kind of like not a nickname. It's more like a badge earned, I guess, kind of thing. Because when the fellas go out in the Philippine Islands and they come back the next morning and they're lined up down the passageway at a ship looking to see doc for some penicillin, you become their best friend ever. Okay. So, and on the battlefield, imagine you're really, really, really hurt, and a guy like Joe, all of a sudden he's in your face, and you're really, really, really hurt.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Joe's face that day. You know what I mean? And so it makes you very humble, and it makes you very grateful and very appreciative of life.
Certainly.
Being a doc,
Mm-hmm.
so.
And they don't call every one of the medics or whatever doc.
Yeah.
It is literally, you have to earn it. They'll call you a Care Bear all day long, but seriously. But to be called doc, you had to have done something for your boys,
Yeah.
And
Right.
well, I got to say for the infantry side, because like Doc had said, he messed it up a little bit, but I was infantry first. I ended up
Right.
reclassing to being a medic, and then I don't know, I was a medic in 2000, and then 2001 happened, 9/11, whatever. But
Yeah.
I ended up being, with my infantry background, they sent me right with the Rakkasans in the 101st. And so I got to mess with them a lot. And then when I was in Afghanistan, it was the Norwegian mine clearing team, EOD, and all of the stuff that nobody else wanted to do. It was just that way. And so with my history, they always sent me on it, and I was down for it. And it was fun and almost ended me, but oh well, I made it. And so,
Nice.
you know, that kind of thing.
Well, we're glad you're back home for sure.
Shit. Me too, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great.
Well,
I guess I'm a Care Bear.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Smoke a little weed and you won't have a Care Bear.
Yeah, right. He's a teacher of corpsmen, though, and that's different, man. There's a higher echelon to be had with corpsmen, and well, if you're teaching them, I think you kind of fit the bill, brother. So
Yeah, the education.
I got to go back and teach the kids. When I left corpsman school, I went to Millington. I went to Iceland for 3 years. That was pretty crazy. And then I got accepted to be a Navy instructor at corpsman school. I got to go teach at the school I learned at.
Very nice.
So that was real. And then Desert Storm happened, so we had to change our curriculum to more of a combat curriculum versus hospital stuff.
Mm.
You know, and so I had to send a few of the young kids out to the Marine Corps, because
definitely.
we just take care of Marines for 90% of the time. So they went straight to the front lines.
So did you do any cross training with some of the other forces, some of the international forces as well, or just primarily the U.S. forces?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to mess with the Canadians as far as being a medic. The Canadians, I got to mess with a whole bunch of really, really high-speed docs, that we don't talk about too often, but they've seen them come and go kind of thing, and so as far as other nations, it would have been the Canadians. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Corpsman, you could be a Navy SEAL corpsman, you could be a diver corpsman. There's all kinds of special sea and air rescue where you go through like POW camp and stuff, training stuff. It's
now I got to work with corpsmen, but we wanted to be around corpsmen because they could do even more than we could do.
Right.
I believe your wife was mentioning that, as a nurse, that us military, personnel get to do way more. And, Doc, he got to do a whole bunch more than I did. I was just emergency medicine, stop the bleeding, that kind of stuff, keep them alive.
I got to do the burn units, surgery units. I delivered children, helped docs deliver babies. I delivered my own son, completely done the whole thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get to do cool stuff, so.
I got to do autopsies and stuff. That was kind of crazy. About all
delivering babies to autopsies. That's a really good, really good swing.
The life of a doc.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's true. That's just Monday, man. Yeah. It was fun.
That's awesome.
Whatever led you to cannabis,
right?
It's this. Besides kids and loved ones, it's the most proudest thing I've ever done in my whole life.
Yeah, I agree, man. It was super honorable.
I
and
can't believe let me be one of them guys,
when you're just doing it, you just know it's honorable, and so it helps motivate you to keep doing it,
Yeah, definitely. Most certainly. And, I don't think a lot of people understand that you're somewhat in a perilous position as well. I mean, a lot of the combat medics and stuff, they're out there on the front lines, but they're taking care of people. They're not able to really focus on what's going on around them. And it can be a pretty hairy situation, but they're having to sit there and try to put together a comrade and put somebody together while all that's going on. And so
while there's a firefight.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely takes a little bit more steel and nerve to be able to focus on the patient,
You still got to change your shorts every now and again, brother. Don't
worry. Kahunas, huh?
Yeah. Hell yeah. But that's why you trust your brothers and sisters that are around you.
Absolutely, yes.
You have to. It's imperative.
Yeah,
Most
before it gets away from me, man, I wanted to say, doing the Sick Call with Doc podcast has enlightened me, and I've learned so much. And if it wasn't for the VCC and Brian Devil Dog Roof as our executive producer, United States Marine Corps, without Joe with his down to earth life knowledge, cannabis knowledge, and with me, I just bring the heart of love and all of it. We bounce it. It just works for us.
Yeah.
And I've had guests, Joe, hit me back after and say, you know what? It was therapy for me. I feel better for coming on and showing that courage to talk about my life so intimately.
Yes.
And I hold it as a sacred trust. It's just amazing. It's just amazing, the show.
Yeah.
And it's not us. It's the people that come on, man. We just sit there and like try to think of questions for them, you know? It's not like,
Yes.
Yes, we definitely.
I
get
have no idea what you're talking about.
We don't edit nothing. We don't cut. There's no breaks. It's just whatever they say, it goes out to the rest of the world that way.
Yep.
We don't stop nothing, you know? So
Right. Absolutely.
That's our format as well. And we appreciate everybody's candor on that. One of the things we've got to get into here real quick is our strain of the week. We do a poll that we send out on our webpage and we send out on Facebook. We allow all of our guests and viewers to choose what our strain of the week is going to be. Throw out a few choices for them. They select it. But before we get into that real quick, what do you guys, what's your favorite strain that you've been smoking on recently?
Shit. Well, you guys don't get to smoke on any of it, but it's called Mamma Mia. And it's
nice.
strain.
Okay.
But, it is in the works to get it out to everybody. So, but yeah, Mamma Mia.
Very nice.
I'll give you a little background on her if you want, just so you get the vibe. She's
absolutely.
Hell yeah.
You throw her out there.
20 indica, right? So she's on the skunk side though, right? So her parents are Mazari Sharif, which is Afghani landrace, if you guys didn't know. And then she's mixed with early skunk. All right. And so early skunk, I did a little bit more research, and it's a mix between early pearl, Acapulco gold, and Colombian gold. And so that is the parenting of my Mamma Mia. So you can get the vibe, I'm sure, just by the information.
Beautiful. Yeah, we've got Acapulco gold going on right now. So it's a beautiful plant. How about you, Doc? What you got out there?
I go back to my tried and true, which is always Blue Dream. I love that. I love that sativa, more dominant hybrid type that I have ADD, ADHD, whatever. And I get flustered if too many things come at me at one time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I smoke in the morning, especially. For me, it's a great wake and bake. And I'll do the Blue Dream, and then my list of things to get done.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Creativity, think of ideas. It's a great strain for that. But I hear other people that have ADD can't use a sativa. It sends them further into the confusion and the frustrations and things. But for me, it settles me right down. It calms my brain. I can think straight and get my day done. So it works for me.
Very nice. Well, Dan, you want to take us through strain?
Yeah, well, I mean, shoot, we got the video we can launch into. We will be right back.
Beach, Carry had it, watch your toys in the drift. Dream kill clouds in the sky, watch them drift. Yeah. Roll it up, take a sip, feel the vibe, let it hit. Sorry hill clouds in the sky, watch them drift. Wake up, no stress, just a smooth inhale. Berries and cream, got a flavor so rare. Feeling so high, but my mind stay clear. Cereal milk got me way up here. Floating like I'm on a sugar high, daydreaming high low, but I touch the sky. No crash, just cruise, got nothing to lose. Feeling like a king when I light that fuse. One puff, two puff, let it all fade. Sweet clouds got me drifting away. No stress, no pain, just ride that wave. Swear milk got me feeling this way. One puff, two puff, let it all fade. Sweet clouds got me drifting away. No stress, no pain, just ride that wave. Milk got me feeling this way. Hybrid bounce got my mind so bright. Creativity flowing and my thoughts take flight. Late night chill, got the vibe on mute. Headphones in, let the bass go boom. Eyes red, but I feel so free. Ain't no worries, no stress on me. Feeling like a legend, let me roll that up. If you vibing with me, let's fill that cup. One puff, two puff, let it all fade. Sweet clouds got me drifting away. No stress, no pain, just ride that wave. Swear milk got me feeling this way. One puff, two puff, let it all fade. Sweet clouds got me drifting away. No stress, no pain, just ride that wave. One milk got me feeling this way. Hybrid bounce, got my mind so right. Creativity flowing, yeah, my thoughts take flight. Late night chill, got the vibe on mute. Headphones in, let the bass go boom. Eyes red, but I feel so free. Ain't no worries, no stress on me. Feeling like a legend, let me roll that up. If you vibing with me, let's fill that cup. One puff, two puff, let it all fade. Sweet clouds got me drifting away. No stress, no pain, just ride that way. Swear milk got me feeling this way. One puff, two puff, let it all fade. Sweet clouds got me drifting away. No stress, no pain, just ride that way. Milk got me feeling this way. One puff.
All right, and it cuts. By the way, not my finest cut, but we do our best out here. Welcome back again, everybody, to the 406 Budcast. Thank you for sticking around. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe. Show the love to everyone. Click on all the stuff. I think we had the zero. What was that guy?
0 day.
Zero day. Hopefully he posted a link in the chat, and you all can. Send any support possible. So with that in mind,
let's get over to Joe and Doc's page there and get over to their podcast and give them a like and follow as well.
Absolutely.
Please
what
do.
What time do you guys normally release that, by the way?
It's usually on every Monday. We drop a new podcast, and it goes out on the like the YouTube around 4:00. It goes out on our Facebook page at like 7:00. I'm not sure what time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We also we got very, very fortunate to land on a Roku channel called Citizen Green TV. So for those of you, if you guys have Roku, you can check it out on Citizen Green TV. Sick Call with Doc. It's there also. Spotify, you can just jam it on your way to work in the morning and listen
Apple
to
it. Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
Very nice.
Sick Call with Doc.
Yep. Right on. Cool. Well, we will thank you guys so much for that little plug. We will get into the strain of the week. This week, we're going to be talking about cereal milk, a quite popular strain. It's a hybrid. It's exactly a 50-50 hybrid, according to our Leafly research. It is renowned for its resin production. It is something that I am personally looking into for some personal breeding projects, specifically, again, for that rosin production. I want to be able to press some really nice rosin out of my flowers. And I think cereal milk and mother's milk and all of those milk strains are really onto something. Yeah. It's got to be, so what they have is the Girl Scout cookies and cherry pie crossed with Snowman, which is a cookies family specific. Again, this is, we've talked about it on the show before, how tons of strains have that cookies backbone, right? And, a lot of stuff is cookies washed or whatever, but you can't argue with it at the end of the day. It puts out rosin, it puts out trichomes, and it makes really, really stinky big flowers.
And it's really interesting in the fact that its THC comes in typically around 18 to 23%, which most people is going to consider that on the low spectrum. Right. But we know that that's not exactly the truth. And with a lot of those terpenes and everything that come into play,
Yeah. This strain is recommended for experienced users. Even though, like you said, it's only 18 to 23 on average, it's still not something that I would recommend to a first timer.
Our Black Bubba, though, never gets above 22. And anybody does Black Bubba, she's going down.
Got a punch.
Exactly. Do you guys have any strains that you're familiar with that are, we talk about this on the show, or maybe we don't talk about it all the time, but it's something that annoys me. The people who only want 35% THC, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like, there's so much more to bud than that.
There is 100%. I mean, as far as from what I know, I mean, I've smoked strains that had 16% THC, and it's probably one of the best highs I ever had, and it lasted for an hour and a half. Yeah. And so I learned real early that THC isn't the only thing, I like a lot of different cannabinoids, the CBG and the CBGAs, yes. All those, I like my cannabinoids to be higher, and if you just have this high THC, well, that's going to take from something, right? And so anyway, you want a happy medium. And so I like about that 20 to 25 would be great for me. What is this? Purple Ghost Candy is a strain, Seedsman Genetics, but that one was a very heavy producer. As far as one plant outperformed 2 hash plants. And so if you guys like that pressable or bubble hash type stuff, it's a real big producer too.
Okay.
Really, really good feel too. Really good feel.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Well, now that you mentioned that, actually, I had 2 strains that I took down in my tent last cycle. Speaking of percentage not meaning everything, I pressed an ounce of both of them and got exactly 4.5 grams of rosin. Now, I know that's not the best ever results, but it's interesting that both strains had the exact same output in my system, because I actually had these tested. One tested at 20% and the other was at 25%. So then how did they produce the exact same amount of cannabinoid oil at the end? Well, because like you said, there's other cannabinoids that take
they fill it up. Mm-hmm.
And also you got to think about your lipids, your fats, your waxes. So some plants may have more cannabinoids coming out of it, less lipids and fats. So, I mean, those are your trade-offs as well, especially when you're dealing with rosin.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have heard about these fatty acids in the land races that are way higher than these polyhybrids that we got going on right now. And so what I've been working on for breeding purposes is I'm working with land races and trying to reintroduce the higher terpene profiles and cannabinoids and fatty acids and stuff that are missing in some of our new polyhybrids.
Very nice.
That's extremely interesting. And I can't wait for more and more plant science and plant knowledge like this to move forward in the industry. I think that's extremely exciting. Back to the cereal milk real quick. We do for reported effects. We have a nice balanced high, of course, coming from that cookie strain. It's going to be uplifting, creative. Even though it's a 50-50, I think most people would consider this maybe a sativa hybrid even. Looks like it's good for stress, depression, fatigue, nausea, pain, a lot of the classics. Appearance, dense, heart-shaped buds, classic cookies. I just can't keep saying it, but you know what I mean? Like dark orange hairs and a thick layer of frosty white trichomes. Yep. It does actually have a little bit of growing information. It suggests well-draining, organic-rich soil, so likely a nutrient run of your line would probably work beautifully for these. And I've noticed that organic nutrients work very well for high trichome density strains. So great for relaxation without excessive sedation. And that's all I've got on that one. I've had cereal milk personally. It is a great strain.
Yeah, I've been telling people most lately, and it makes complete sense to me. Even as a business owner, even though I'm not organic completely, I say this: either grow organic or use utopic. Either you're utopic or you're organic.
Definitely.
You know, I've used the rest. We've sent the rest to the labs. I know what's in all my competition. Either you're organic or you're utopic.
Yeah.
Or utopic or organic. I love the organic growers. Man, that takes a lot of book, a lot of hands-on, and a lot of time. And I respect the organic people like you wouldn't believe, you know. But not everybody has the opportunity to do organic. You know, they can't make their own. The guy with a 2x2 in his apartment, you know.
Not going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, so you know, there's room for everybody, and if you're not organic, be utopic.
Absolutely.
Hey, I mean, like we talked about earlier, I know personally of a salt-based nutrient line that is OMRI organic listed. So, I mean, the whole argument is a little silly to me.
I don't want to play with it. You know, it's
yeah, exactly.
You know, it's
so
like, shut up. You know, I don't care. You know,
yeah,
so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Ready to do news?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we got to bust over to the news section real quick. So we got a quick introductory video. We'll be right back with the news.
This update's fresh and real. Tune in with Nate. It's the big deal. Cannabis news with Nate. Let's go. Every story makes you go. Stay informed. Don't be late. Cannabis news.
All right, guys, we're right back with the news here on the 406 Budcast. So what we're going to be going over this week is a lot of legislative action happening at the Montana House and Senate. Our legislative session is in full swing, and there's some crazy kooky stuff that's coming out of the Capitol, as always, when it's related to cannabis. One of the things that we're paying attention to right now is LC 18112. So that's going to be a legislative draft. But what it would do is it's going to require mandatory marijuana identification cards for everybody who consumes cannabis. So you would have to spend $200 if you want to buy recreational cannabis or even medical cannabis in Montana. Go get yourself an identification card issued from the CCD or some other department. It hasn't yet been determined. And then you would be able to go to any dispensary and purchase your cannabis. In addition to this just being a really poor idea, it would essentially eliminate all out-of-state market because you would have to be able to buy your Montana ID card.
It's like no tourism.
Right. The entire tourism industry for cannabis would completely out the window.
Which, I mean, a lot of people may not know this, but Montana is a huge tourist state, actually.
Yes,
Is
very
that-
much so.
Is that technically just de-recreationalizing it? Because you have to get a license to purchase no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, what is happening here is a lot of people who are still for prohibition are trying to make access as difficult as possible. There's still the, argument from a lot of, including our older customers who come in for the gummies and stuff. They don't want to really be on a quote unquote list, and it's also interesting because there's a bill that just passed out of committee, which we'll go over as well, that basically says we have to purge identification cards, and then you can use electronic identification cards to purchase alcohol, and you can purchase cannabis with them. So if you have a Apple identification card that shows your age and stuff, you can use that. But so the other big change that's going on right now, we've got Senate Bill 27, which was the interim committee bill that we have been talking about quite a bit. That passed out of committee today, and so that's going to be heading to the Senate floor. That was approved without amendments, 8-3. So it looks like there's a very big favor to pass that. There's a lot going on in that. It's going to maintain the moratorium until 2027, so no out-of-state licenses. They said that they will issue new licenses if you're attached to a cannabis facility, but you can't have any more locations or any more facilities. So it's very dysfunctional on some of those levels. We'll have to keep you updated as it goes, but realistically, it seems like this one is heading pretty hard to becoming law, and it may do that quickly. Essentially, it's going to have an effective date sometime in July, unless it's modified or amended in between here in the governor's desk. So we're going to have to pay very close attention to that one for sure.
What just a quick interjection. I don't necessarily agree with all of these decisions being made by my legislators that I hired for this job. So what can I do about that as a citizen?
So, if you want to let this legislator know that you're displeased with this action, you want them to stop, you can call the Capitol Switchboard up in Helena. It's very easy to look up.
Just Google Capitol Switchboard.
Capitol
Montana.
Switchboard, Montana. You can leave a message for any one of your legislators through there. There's also the leg.mt.gov. That's going to be the legislative webpage. You can look up your legislator there, and they'll have their email address and they'll have their phone number, and then you can get a hold of them directly. Send them an email, let them know, hey, by the way, this is my thoughts on the issue. Be very respectful. A lot of times if you're forceful or angry or something with your messaging, they're probably just going to throw it directly out, and you're not really going to get your message across.
Well, people might not realize, but that kind of behavior actually is hugely important. It's not like your legislator is getting thousands and thousands of these emails every single day. You actually are making a difference when you send that email to them.
That's exactly.
And they're like, oh my God, thank goodness one of the citizens told me what they want. Right. So please do it, guys.
You think so, huh?
I do. Well,
You know, on the local level, we've seen it all the time. You know,
Yeah,
there's
for
certain
sure,
people
for sure.
that they're entrenched. You know, they're not going to change their mind no matter what. You know, but here on the state level, on the local level, you know, federal level, total different story.
Absolutely.
Here on Montana, we're very unique. Our legislative session only happens every 2 years, and we only allow them to meet for 90 days. So
That's
there's
enough
a lot
government for us.
crammed into a quick space in a short amount of time, and they do quite frequently. We heard from this constituent group, we heard from that constituent group, and that's the reason why we made this decision. And including on cannabis, sometimes they've made some decisions, and everybody was busy taking care of their operation, wasn't busy taking care listening to what they were going to do with the rules, and then change some things. They got some pushback, and they're like, hey, wait a minute, why didn't we get this opposition before? You guys didn't even come to us, let us know. And so there's a definite give and take here in Montana. You definitely have those prohibitionist people who are never going to change their mind, and we still have those entrenched in our legislature as well.
Well, anything at all that prohibits a veteran's right to grow a few plants to find his own medicine or her own medicine, don't vote for it if it doesn't help that.
Right.
I agree.
So with that though, you guys talking about the legal and the law stuff. Our first season, episode 10, we had a Reverend Heidi Grossman-Lepp, who has her own church in Detroit, and if you're a member, you're exempt, and I won't do it justice tonight, but she's been fighting for 30 or 40 years for the rights of us to have cannabis, the plant, back to us.
Nice.
And so she's a big descheduler. And then we have a gentleman on, in fact, this Monday coming up, he's going to talk about descheduling completely. And he's the guy that's been putting in one motion after another and fighting Washington, D.C., because rescheduling still prohibits your rights, where descheduling does not. So I'm not a big law guy, but I think it's very educational to check it out. For sure.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of bills that are currently working through Congress. There's the SAFER Act, and then there's a Banking Act, and then there's the States Act and State 2.0 that would basically say, listen, whatever the state law is, that's what we're going to deal with, and federal law doesn't apply in that state. I think that's one thing that a lot of people could encourage on the federal level. It does have a lot of good bipartisan support. The Safe Banking Act here in Montana, we actually had both Republican and Democrat support for that bill. Senator Steve Daines, Republican from Montana, was a co-sponsor last legislative session, and I believe he's going to be doing it again. So I think those are very important for all of us to pay attention to and reach out to. What the Safer Banking Act does is it just allows cannabis businesses to actually have regular bank accounts just like any other normal business. And I think with as many states that have legalization, it's beyond time to get that done and get it done now.
Yeah. I believe they are even having an investigative committee at the federal level right now. So if you've been
send an email, actually.
Yeah. So if you've been debanked, let them know. And they are working on fixing it.
Yeah.
I've been deprocessed, like even as a fertilizer company in the industry of cannabis. I'm a specialty banking person.
Yeah.
So there's fees and upon fees, and
oh yes,
they make
the green
it so
tax is
hard,
real,
guys. They make it so hard. I'm not selling weed. I'm selling plant food.
Right. And if you were just selling it for tomatoes, they wouldn't care at all. But
your label has to be towards tomatoes
the minute you have any association whatsoever with cannabis, it goes right out the window. You can't advertise. There's all kinds of other stuff that's very restrictive. I'm sure you guys run into it on Facebook and stuff like that. Trying to mention cannabis, they shut you down pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like telling PayPal we're not cannabis, and they go to my Utopic Growers page. 1,000 pictures of me.
Yeah,
I can't help what they use, you know.
it's hemp, man. I don't know what you're talking
Right.
about.
But what's wrong with you guys? So
I said it was
So-
good for tomatoes. I can't help the rest, you know.
exactly what everybody's using it for is up to them.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
those
okay.
dang stoners and their engineering and all that.
How's that on me, you know?
Yeah, for real.
Did we have any other news?
Oh yeah. So real quickly, slamming out the news real quick. House Bill 249. That's the one that's going to be digital IDs for alcohol, and it's going to be digital IDs for cannabis as well. The one thing about this bill that nobody really has opposed, and it's working its way through very quickly. I think everybody's like cool with showing off a digital ID, or if you have your ID saved on your phone, to be able to show it to somebody and that be valid. But the thing that I actually like about this bill is it makes any store anywhere in Montana, if they scan your ID, they hold that metadata or anything, they cannot sell it to a third party.
Mhm.
They have to protect
good.
that. And then it has to be destroyed within 180 days. So you
Fantastic.
can't hold on to it. And I think this is a very, very smart, common sense bill. Braxton Mitchell, Republican Columbia Falls, he's the main sponsor behind this bill. And it seems like it's pretty straightforward and common sense. So I would imagine this would be a good deal for everybody, and might be something we could support.
So, if we're required to take this ID and then we're required to destroy it within 6 months, then how are we to fulfill maintaining a list for over 6 months?
Yeah, so it would be interesting to see how that maintains with the current CCD laws, and
Right.
whether or not those would have to be modified because of this. Because obviously, we're required to hold on to those records of our customers for quite a much longer time. But I think this law would sort of mandate us to destroy that and get rid of it faster than the CCD. So there's
Faster
clearly
than they
some-
do their inspections, even. So,
So that may be something that they're going to have to sit back and address, especially with some of these bills that are coming forward.
they just love slinging these bills out with no thought of
Well,
the
you know,
consequences, huh?
Yeah, they don't like
Colorado
shit.
Springs, that they did that shit where they passed a bill to allow dispensaries in Colorado Springs, and at the same time they passed a bill to not allow dispensaries in Colorado
They passed
Springs.
both bills at the same time.
Two competing initiatives actually won. So,
Yeah.
it's not unheard
Government,
of.
people. Government. It's a perfect system. We've got it all figured out.
The other last one that we have out there, we've got House Bill 289, which is important to pay attention to. This is coming from Representative Jebediah Hinkle out of Belgrade there. He's trying to give tighter restrictions to smaller towns and stuff like that to zone out cannabis businesses, but also make it harder for cannabis businesses. Currently, people within a town can petition their town or their county if they're red, and they can have a vote. And if everybody decides that in their town that they want to have cannabis, there's some exceptions within the law that they can do that, or they can flip a county or something, or they can flip towns. He's trying to make it to where it has to be at least a population of 5,000 or more, which, I mean, Montana is pretty much rural everywhere. So the only place you're going to be able to do that is some of the
Capital.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Montana's full of just immense towns.
absolutely. Yes.
And
His name is Zebediah, yo.
He doesn't have an agenda.
For me, I think it just really creates an inconsistency in all the regulations and stuff. And I think a lot of people who are opposed to it think that that's the same thing. The proponents, including himself, think that there needs to be more local government control. I believe that the law as currently written gives really adequate control, and there doesn't really need to be any tweaks. Right now, Billings, the largest city in Montana, doesn't allow cannabis dispensaries to be in the city. We've had a couple of votes, and the citizens have said no, they don't want cannabis inside the city limits for one reason or another. So, you know, that has happened. And so there's a lot of cannabis businesses on the outskirts of towns. And I think there's a lot of towns and a lot of counties that have said no to cannabis, and they've kept it out. So I just see this as a very unnecessary, you know, burdensome bill that really
What are they
doesn't,
worried about even?
really
Yeah,
doesn't be done.
They're worried you're going to
We've got veterans sitting in jail right now, sitting in prison for cannabis-related nonviolent.
Absolutely
Other
right.
states, We got other states I can sit on my front porch and smoke a log in front of anybody.
Yes.
It doesn't
that's
make
exactly
any
right.
sense.
So the other ones that we're watching pretty closely is we got House Bill 331. This comes from Carrie Seekins Crow in Billings. This is a prohibition on any kind of cannabis advertising. She tried to bring this last legislative session. It was tabled. She's one of the, in with Zabawa crowds trying to eliminate cannabis businesses being able to be mentioned, being able to be talked about. They want us to basically just not exist, not be able to have signs on the outside of our building letting anybody know where a dispensary is, not be able to put an ad on Google, not be able to put an ad on Facebook. So basically, people are just going to have to feel around in the dark and trip over weed wherever they can.
Right.
So they're going back to the high schoolers.
Well, it's just dysfunction. And thing that really, to me, is a absolute stupidity about all this shit. We've created over $59 million in taxes for the state of Montana with cannabis. And it, seems like you're trying to cut off your nose to spite your face with this. Don't advertise, try to eliminate as much business towards this tax revenue, which actually does go towards, mental health issues and stuff like that does help veterans. There is some set asides within Montana's cannabis money that go to these programs and stuff like that. So, I mean, if we start eliminating some of these things, we're going to see a suffering throughout Montana and some of the Montana veteran communities as well. So with that, go ahead. Sorry, Doc.
I think, I wish we could take small bites, and I wish that we could go to Washington as veterans, a cannabis coalition, and say, look, nationally, let a veteran grow 3 or 4 plants. If a veteran crosses state lines with 10 pounds, get him.
Right.
But if he's trying and she's trying to find a way to take care of themselves without all the pills and wants to find some strains that help them with what they got going on, leave us alone.
Agreed, 100%.
Let us do it. If I could get Washington to make that law, we're good.
Yeah,
right.
We're good, right? That's what we're in it for, right?
Oh, I agreed 100%. And I'm with you. I think deregulation needs to happen. I don't want to see descheduling. I want to see deregulation and, not rescheduling, excuse me, but descheduling and deregulation of it. My personal feeling behind cannabis is that it's a supplement, and it's just like any other supplement out there. I know a lot of people say that it's medicine, and I think a lot of supplements out there work as medicine as well. But cannabis has, been proven, I think, on a lot of levels to supplement what we really need as human beings.
Yeah, it's not the be all end all, but I'll tell you what, Joe and I have seen it.
I lived it.
It does wonders for people.
Yeah.
Wonders.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And for me, I don't use it all day long, every day. I'm usually down to about 75 milligrams of edibles at night, and no more than a gram worth of flour a day. And so that's minimal, and it's for medicating. My brain is crazy. I don't necessarily I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD or anything like that, but my mind goes a million miles an hour, and I think about 20 different projects or 20 different problems. I need to be able to focus. And so that's what cannabis does for me. Otherwise I'll go crazy. I'm sure you guys can experience that or have experienced that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most certainly. Well, we're running right up on about an hour and almost 20 minutes. And I know you guys are coming up on, I believe, midnight out there almost in Michigan. And I think you're pretty close to 11 o'clock there in Oklahoma. Yeah.
Way past this old man's bedtime.
we appreciate you staying up and sharing your story and joining us up here in Montana. We'd love to have you back on again sometime in the future. Share your new adventures and where you're going later on. And so let's stay in touch.
Thanks for having us on, brother.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. Thank all of you for having us on.
Really appreciate you guys
trying to get it, man.
We appreciate you guys, and thank you so much. One more time, give us a plug on how we can find you and how our guests can find you on your podcast, please.
You can do Sitcom with Doc, the group on Facebook, the page on Facebook, YouTube, Sitcom with Doc, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Roku, Citizen Green TV, and please share.
YouTube?
We fixed YouTube also. Yep. I found this out. In order to reach veterans, you got to reach veterans. So hit the share button. Hit the share button. Send it on. Friends, family. Get it out there so we can help more veterans, please.
Absolutely, yes. We appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Yep. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all in the chat for hanging out. Make sure that you leave that parting like if you enjoyed the show tonight. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful weekend.
Stay lifted.
Stay lifted, everybody.
Hell yeah. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks,
Peace.
guys.